Hey there guys, Izzy here. So this is a bit of a tricky video. I recorded all the audio while I was reviewing the watch, but it didn't record any of my audio. But anyway, here we are. So thanks for tuning in. So I'll start with my journey with this watch. So I made a decision to purchase a watch for a friend. Great guy, done a lot to help me out over the years. And I didn't know what I was going to get him. I know I wanted it to be special, but I didn't really have an idea. I didn't really know what I was going to get. Anyway, he has a smaller wrist, so I think 6.5-inch wrist. So I was like, okay, well, I'll look for something a little bit vintage, a little bit older, and see what I can find. And eventually, it led me to, so I'm from Australia, it led me to a Cash Converters, my search for a vintage watch. And they were having a sale at the time. And right in the bottom of one of their cabinets was a small, badly dinged up, scratched up, on a metal band, Seiko chronograph. I thought, oh, that's really cool. I've restored watches in the past. So I thought, oh, this might be a nice little project. So I picked it up. I actually paid $26 for it, which at the time it was in really poor shape. So it looks really nice now in this video, but the crystal was all scratched up. The bands I mentioned, the band was all dinged up, and the pins for the band were actually, one of them was jammed in place. It was locked in place. So anyway, I brought it home. I tried to fix it myself, but I had no luck. The movement worked beautifully. The battery was in amazing condition, so it hadn't leaked or anything like that. But I just couldn't get the bezel. So on the front there's I'm just zooming in now. So okay, great. So on the where the crystal sort of seats down onto the watch, there's a gasket that sits in between the bezel and the face of the watch. That when I popped it off the crystal, it was like the gasket had been stretched a really long way, and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And there was also like a lot of scratch marks around on the inside, so I didn't understand what was going wrong. So anyway, I took it to my watch guy, and he said that the gasket they had used was just a random gasket that someone had found. It wasn't the right gasket, so we ordered the correct one from Seiko in Japan. And while he had the watch, we got talking about it, and he said, this is actually really a famous watch. And he said it was featured in a Bond movie, and it was also one of the first analog quartz chronograph watches. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I went home and I started Googling, and did about an hour's worth of Googling, and I actually fell in love with it. I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I started having reservations about giving it away, but I'd committed to myself that this was the watch for my friend, so I stuck to my word, and I had it restored. I think it ended up costing me about it was under $100. No, it was more. It was nearly $200 because I got a brand new crystal installed in it, a brand new gasket, and a new battery as well. But for, I think, so what is it? Just under $250, and I walked away with a really nice watch for my friend. But I just thought I would give you some interesting facts about the watch, and also what the purpose of this video was. So the purpose of this video was, when I was Googling this watch and when I was looking for videos on YouTube, I couldn't actually find any videos of just the watch performing its functions and like the back of it, the side of it. So because I wanted to I wanted to sort of confirm that the watch I got was a genuine watch and not a reproduction or a fake or something like that. So this is just simply me, I guess, doing my bit to catalogue history. So, because I can imagine YouTube's going to be around forever. So if anyone's ever interested in the Seiko 7A28 720, they can watch this video and see the functions, because from what I understand, this watch functions pretty well perfectly. I spent a lot of time going through the movements, going through the motions and texting everything. Really interesting thing about the watch is it's all all of the hands can be programmed individually, which is quite a remarkable thing, because they don't do that these days, because there's no the level of care and effort they went into creating this watch they don't go into that level of detail and that level of care anymore with watches. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so interesting fact number 1. It belongs to the world's first quartz. It belongs to the world's first analog quartz chronograph family. Released in 1980, the Seiko 7A28 series was the first mass-produced analog quartz chronograph movement ever made, a major milestone in watchmaking history, and also a fully metal movement, so no plastic anywhere. So when I had this watch in my possession, I opened the back up and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It looked like looking at the inside of a metal computer. It was absolutely fascinating. Just the level of care and effort that Seiko went to create this thing. It would rival some Swiss watches, and everything is everything's serviceable. So the 7A28 movement can be fully disassembled, cleaned, re-oiled, and to compare that to a modern chronograph, a quartz chronograph, they would just throw the movement out and replace it. So that was really cool. I can't imagine it's a cheap exercise, but it's interesting. So I've mentioned the independently adjustable subdials. It's got a military pedigree. So this watch was issued to the UK Royal Air Force in the 1980s. With fixed bars and military engravings. Okay, those ones are really highly collectible. Apparently the 7A28, a variant of it, was used in space. So a close sibling of this watch was worn by astronaut Reinhard Furr on the 1985 Spacelab mission. So that's pretty cool. It's iconic for its Speedmaster-like case. Hardlex crystal for durability. So this is Hardlex mineral crystal, so it's tougher than standard mineral glass. I guess nowadays that's common practice, but when this watch was made, that was quite innovative. So it says no date window by design. So they intentionally omitted a date complication to keep the dial clean and emphasize the chronograph layout. It also simplified the movement and improved reliability. So these have been going up in value. So I saw some models that were in better condition than this one, that were exceeding $2,000. That's Australian dollars. Yeah, I was really, really surprised. So another interesting fact, so it appeared in a James Bond film. So, let me get that right. A close sibling of the 7A